Express and Smooth 98.1. It's a Friday, so we use the hashtag on Twitter, Tech Friday. You can be part of the show simply by sending in your messages on WhatsApp 0809-444-0981. Also tweet us at Smooth981FM. I have a guest for Friday. If you've ever listened to the show on a Friday, of course, you know that Fisayo Durojaye always joins in. Hi, Fisayo.
Hi, Victor. How you doing? Good morning. Good morning, Lagos.
Good morning. And holding it down from Monday till now, he's got a trophy from me. Onome. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Victor. Good morning, Lagos.
Onome, thank you very much for joining. Now let's get straight into the conversation for today. Did you guys see Twitter? I mean, this story about Twitter paying $150 million, as privacy fine. Elon Musk. In fact, yesterday, Twitter agreed to new oversight and a $150 million penalty to settle a federal privacy suit. In fact, the first major deal between a large tech company and Biden administration, the Federal Trade Commission had put that out. Let's begin with you, Fisayo. I mean, this particular one, what do you make of it?
I mean, it's a difficult one, especially when there's a pending deal on the side, and then you have to settle, privacy-related things, right? I guess, I mean, I don't know what to make of it. To a large extent, knowing fully well that yes, someone like Elon Musk is already having cold feet on the potential purchase. Given the fact that the market had turned down, the capital market had crashed. Many of the most valuable stocks then have lost, 70%, 60%, 50% of their value. And then, of course, we've started seeing, the fact that yes, even Elon had alleged, some misconduct or some potential, deceit with Twitter itself, given that he claimed that they are reported that bots on the platform is less than 5%, and he thinks that they are over 20%. Now this issue about privacy, taking people's numbers and emails and using it for advertising purposes, right? Those are key issues that everyone needs to be able to figure out how to address. So I guess, putting all of these things together, it's now particularly, I don't know how the deal is going to go through, but again, he also puts more searchlight on the management of Twitter to see how.
Okay, Fisayo, let's pause this Twitter conversation first and then come back to it in the course of the conversation. I just saw this very exciting one about air taxi services. Because I'm in Lagos, I complain about the traffic all the time. So I think we should just begin with the flying taxis. What do you make of the regulatory approval for this particular service?
So as of today, airplanes are considered as the safest, right? But again, if you now start having smaller air taxis,
I'm not sure it would fly at the same altitude, would it?
No, it will never fly at the same altitude as airplanes. So that's what I'm saying, that if you now start having the smaller ones, flying at significantly lower altitudes. Maybe flying at the height of a skyscraper. Let's say people are flying, cars into skyscrapers and all of that issues, right? So again, it raises many privacy issues. Not privacy. to that got to my head. It raises many safety issues. Raises issues around. Do we have to have specialized like pilots? Particularly trained. To be flying these, or similar to cars, you can just go to a flying school and just start flying taxis and all of that. So again, these are issues that needs to be particularly addressed to figure out if this can be commercial or not. But again, I'm not very bullish about it. I'm not very bullish because again, it appears to me like another micro mobility. Flying 3-4 people in the air. I don't know. It's not.
We would love
solve...
it in Lagos, Onome, just to help with the traffic. But let's come talk to Onome quickly. What do you think about it?
I don't think so, at least for Lagos, because
Onome, I was thinking.
Because we're just not ready yet, and two, we are not very particular about enforcing standards. I guess that with aviation in Nigeria, you have to enforce certain standards because the consequences of a plane crashing are huge. But if you're going to have maybe 4, 5, 6 passenger vehicle, I don't see how we can.
So you think there are going to be crashes when we have flying taxis in Lagos?
Oh, definitely.
Conductor,
see the same human beings on a micro level now.
Right.
Can we enforce those laws tightly?
No, but these aren't going to be the regular bus drivers that we have on the streets of Lagos. These are going to be skilled professionals flying these taxis.
See the same human being, see the same Nigerians, right? Somebody is going to slip up. Now with a plane, because it's bigger and because the consequences are larger, you rarely have slip-ups. But with the 5, 6, 10 passenger vehicle, after a while, people will slip up.
Let's talk about the regulations. Let's talk about the regulations, Onome. Well, by the way, you could be part of the show, 009-444-0981, flying taxis. Are we going to see that in Lagos, Nigeria? Because if it ever comes to Nigeria, of course, Lagos is the first destination because of the population, and we know it's a commercial city. But we saw that the Joby Aviation Incorporated received FAA nod, to start air taxi services commercially. What does this say about the regulatory environment for tech and innovation in the United States? It's not in Nigeria yet, but in the US.
It's obviously, the two stories kind of link up. So on one end, you see a big entity like Twitter getting fined, for essentially using client data for purposes of state. And on the flip side, you can see that they're already tinkering with regulation on air taxis. So so it's clear that that's one of the reasons why maybe it hates a lot the US. It's clear that it's an environment that is very encouraging of innovation. And even with the regulatory process there, you find out that, with things as you take the crypto space, for instance, there are pros and cons around the regulations in the US and US SEC, how they handle things. But obviously, there's more room for expression and more room for innovation compared to lots of places around the world. So I think that's a good thing. And that's probably one of the best places in the world that you probably get away with some of these things. But I feel that I don't think they're going to lead in this space. China is always there.
Okay, Fisayo, Onome thinks due to safety, this might not really work in Nigeria. But looking at the impact, what will be the impact on, traffic, these flying vehicles, impact of flying vehicles on traffic and other metrics for daily commuting, using Lagos, Nigeria as case study?
Okay, so Victor, using Lagos as a case study, from the research I saw that 12 million people moving in Lagos on a daily basis. 12 million using their cars, either private cars, commercial buses, commercial services, all of that. 12 million people. So what's the effect of 1,100 flying taxis on that? Especially if you're not moving, 200 people per flight. You're moving 3 people per flight. It doesn't solve anything. It's a drop in the ocean, right? And of course, then it now raises security concerns. I'm looking at the story again now, and it says that even Joby's own pilot in February had an accident. Right? In February, Joby's piloted a prototype aircraft met with an accident during its test flight.
It's a new innovation, so expected.
In California. Exactly my point, right? So I don't think that the risk is worth it, especially if it is solving a traffic problem in Nigeria. If 12 people are moving and give me 1,000 flying taxis, I believe that that doesn't, number one, solve any traffic problem, right? That's number one. And of course, the security issues that would then raise, for the flying taxis and then the people, flying it, and maybe there's a crash or two crashes, of course, it just, loses thing totally. So I'm not particularly excited about this, at least from Nigerian perspective.
All right.
So
let's look at some of the messages in from Twitter because of our time. Isaac comes in, he says, good morning, all of you. Flying taxis, how will the Agbero collect their ticket money? He says, just kidding though. This will be a welcomed development, but we have so much to do to be ready for this tech. And Dickbo comes in again, says, flying taxis in Lagos sounds like a good and noble idea, but I repeat, it would never happen because it's not commercially viable. Okay, but let's get this moving. Let's talk about virtual currencies now. Do you agree with the US Federal Reserve Chairwoman that a central bank digital currency can coexist with, privately issued digital assets like stable coins? Onome?
Oh, definitely. But the thing is, do you want to use it? So one of the grouses people have against CBDCs is, look, in essence, a central authority probably have access to your wallet, have access to your funds, and could decide to freeze those funds. And now geopolitical tensions are heightened. So I don't want to wake up. And I mean, sooner than later, it creeps home. So now everybody's applying all sorts of laws to Russia. One day somebody's going to wake up in the US or wake up in Nigeria and say, hey, you're using a CBDC and I have issues with you that I need to sort out. So I'm going to freeze your wallet. I'm going to freeze the funds. Now, if you're cut off on the banking system in Nigeria, you have cash, right? You have cash. But we are approaching a time where we're going to have probably another 10, 20 years, we're going to be using less cards and more tech and CBDCs. So that's the concern I have. Like, look, if somebody moves from 0 to 100, as we say here, and decides, look, I'm going to freeze CBDCs of Fisayo. Now, what do you do? What do you do? Or somebody decides to hack a CBDC, a national CBDC. Somebody decides to hack it. Or somebody decides to pull a Snowden. What then do you do? So, I think with time, definitely we're going to see a rise in that, but there are issues that need to be settled. There are issues that need to be clarified.
So we need to see more done, really.
Oh yes, we need to see more done. But just to throw shade, I'm not defense the Nigerian experiment. Yeah.
Fisayo, what do you make of the regulatory environment so far for digital currencies? Like Onome said, more needs to be done. Do you agree?
Of course, a lot more needs to be done. But again, digital currencies, and decentralization, and then of course regulation sounds like an oxymoron, right? So it's the same way. CBDC and from a central bank it doesn't seem to be. I mean, because the point of CBDC or the point of a digital currency based on the blockchain technology is to decentralize, right? But if a central authority is then now issuing something that they claim is decentralized, then of course that raises question. And of course, since the Russian-Ukraine issues started, we've seen that even the current, decentralized system are not quite decentralized, right? Because now some of the providers of digital currencies can target Russian users and of course block them, prevent them from using it. So again, there are different issues right there that needs to be solved to figure out how.
Before we go, Fisayo, sorry to cut in quickly. Before we go, I know that yes, you are making a very good point with some of the regulations, but let's talk again about the fine handed over to Twitter, $150 million. Is this penalty justified, or you think it's too harsh?
Of course, they agree to it, right? So if it's a settlement for them, so they rather settle than go through to defend, because I think it's an admission of guilt from a Twitter perspective, right? And of course, and they see it as a settlement. So I guess all is fair in war, I guess.
Onome, is it too harsh or justified?
I think it's fair, really. I think it's fair because the question is, one might wonder, how much do they make from that? How
Mm.
much do they make from the data? You know.
All
So I
right.
think it's
He thinks it's fair. Let's quickly jump back to the WhatsApp portal and read some of your messages before we go. Transportation is a very good business. That's why Uber have adopted and provided fuel-efficient vehicles to its drivers. Uber is still struggling to break even in Nigeria. Even used bicycles isn't that cheap. Imagine the fuel consumption rates of flying taxis with present energy and crude oil cost. It's almost unattainable. Even if you decide to use batteries, it's not cheap. Dikbo is the one who sent that message across. And we have Matthew Afolabi coming in with this one. It says, what will be the cost implications of these flying cars? Are they going to be affordable for the common man if we have to use them as alternatives here in Lagos? That's about it, gentlemen. How can we catch you on Twitter for the weekend? Onome, Twitter handle.
QUANISIMOGO.
All right. He had to spell it for us. Fisayo.
Fisayo.
At Fisayo on Twitter. Thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of the show. Well, tag us into the conversation at Smooth981 FM on Twitter and at Victor Pepple. The show comes back on Monday at 6:30. Good morning. Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Oh my goodness, time went by real quickly. But thank you very much. Thank you, Onome.
Yep. Stay safe. Have a great weekend.
You too.